Hi, and I'm sparkling. So today I'm going to share with you, quite honestly, my journey into motherhood and what parenting means to me. My initial idea about children was that I was having none. That's it. Nope, wasn't a plan for kids. I wasn't having any, and actually I was more, not even like I didn't talk about it, I was very vocal about the fact that I was not going to have children. It wasn't part of the plan, it wasn't something I was going to do, and there was nothing that was going to change my mind. So when I fell pregnant with my first daughter, I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. I can't even lie, like there's nothing pretty about the fact that how devastated I felt. And it wasn't her, because she's absolutely awesome. It was more me. I hadn't been prepared, and I think, and maybe it wasn't preparation, maybe it was the judgment of other people. The way I thought my life should go, I should have got married and I should have had children and had a really wonderful home, and getting pregnant outside of the order just wasn't the way I wanted it. But someone was happy, Dad was happy, he was happy, so she was wanted initially, no word of a doubt with that. But for me, my career was probably more important, my life was more important. I was happy being single and free and doing whatever I felt like I wanted to do, going where I wanted to go, being with who I wanted to be with, and the sense of having fun, cinema, whatever you do for fun back in the day. That was what I wanted to do, and that was what was important to me. I got pregnant a second time, not intentionally again. So how do you fall twice? After both pregnancies and after giving birth both times, I then suffered with postnatal depression. I didn't really speak about it because I felt it was a failure to be feeling that way, and I felt that I was losing some kind of internal battle or some external battle. I'm not sure who I was comparing myself to at the time, but I didn't feel it appropriate to let people know I was feeling down. So I carried on acting like I was feeling happy, which probably had more of a negative effect on me than a positive, because actually I wasn't having any growth in that area, there wasn't any change in that area, and therefore I just kind of continued to spiral down into the pit in which I was in. It got very bad to the point of suicidal thoughts. I didn't attempt to take my life or anything like that, but I did have thoughts on a regular basis of how I was going to end my life. And I've come to realise in who I am right now that sometimes when we look too far into the future, it can scare us out of our present, and the present being what it is, a present, and for us to embrace that. But I definitely found it very difficult to embrace the moments I was in at the time. So even with my children, it was very hard to get to grips with it, and there was a few behaviours that I exhibited which were strange. I can only look back in reflection and say they were quite strange, in the sense I wouldn't let anyone touch my child. I had thoughts that someone would take her away, and I think that stemmed from the thought that I was not good enough to be her mother, and I wasn't ready to be a mother, therefore I wasn't qualified to be a mother, and therefore I was probably not doing a good job in my eyes in reflection to what I was seeing outside. But they were here, so they are the definite reason, and a massive reason as to why those suicidal thoughts didn't materialise into anything, because I realised very quickly that if I took my own life selfishly, they'd be left without a mother. And as rubbish as I thought I was the mother they were given. So I knew it was my responsibility to be a mother to them. So now they were my new reason. I wanted to make something out of myself. I wasn't sure how, I wasn't sure what, but I knew I had to do something. So I actually joined a company to start a business, and had no idea about business, had no idea how to grow a business, had no idea of how to retail or anything like that from home. But I knew it was the only way I could be at home with my child and probably make some money. I made very little money, But what I did do was I reinvested in myself and definitely got stuck into the personal development, which is where I thought I could grow my knowledge and grow my interest into building this business which is going to give me the income and the stay-at-home opportunity that I really wanted. That made the most amazing difference for me, meeting the different people that I met, borrowing the belief of different people that I met, which I so honestly didn't believe about myself. Things I didn't believe about myself, I actually didn't believe that they really thought it. I think they were probably gassing me up. But it was slowly but slowly, and took a few years of me just really plugging in, really getting involved, really finding some answers outside of myself, because what I was telling myself was quite destructive. What I was exposing myself to, and when I isolated myself, it just got more destructive. So I found I had to outsource. I had to outsource for energy, I had to outsource for knowledge, I had to outsource for belief in myself that I didn't have myself. So the difference that made for me was then I started to believe in myself. It did eventually happen. It did eventually happen that some pennies dropped and then pounds dropped, and I'm still on my journey, quite honestly on my journey to being better than I am right now, and to grow in who I am right now, and just trying to be the better than I was yesterday, be the better version of myself. And with my children, and what parenting was for me was I worked out the life I didn't want for them, and then I worked out the life I did want for them. So these steps sound really, really simple. They sound really quick, but actually it took me a while on my journey to work these things out. It took me a while on my journey to really understand about myself, what I was capable of and what I had inside me, and really plugged into the right people, I believe. Looking at it now, my children are 8 and 5 now, and I am so happy to be the mother that's raising them, because I think they're freaking awesome. Like, they're amazing, and I know that I've been equipped with what I needed to help them develop into the people that they are. My children spend the majority of time with me outside of school and outside of their dad, and I know that what we pour into them, because we're very active in their lives, and I'm very active in their school education and with their teachers and all of that kind of stuff, and it was just bit by bit building my confidence. One of the things that I got from a nursery teacher, actually she was awesome. I remember dropping my daughter to nursery. She used to go 1 day a week, which I was so nervous about, because I thought, what are they going to do to her? What's going to happen? And I mean, she was totally fine, obviously. But the nursery teacher said, you know, even though you're not here at the nursery, they're still your responsibility. And I was thinking, how can they be my responsibility if I'm not there? How can I be responsible for what's happening to them if I'm not sitting with them? What I got from that is that it can be my responsibility, and I just learned through communication with different people that would influence my children how best to help them, help me help them, and how best for me to help them. So, you know, how can I help the teacher help my child in the best way, and how can the teacher help me help my child in the best way, and working with those people. Some of the things that I did do, some of the practices that I did improve on or take an interest in was reading. Reading was a really good way of me gaining knowledge, really good way of me getting lost in something that was more constructive. It was a really great way of me doing something I had enjoyed pre-children. So I've literally read about 30 books this year. The latest one being Slay in Your Lane, which is absolutely amazing. But some of the books in the earlier days that I read that actually changed a lot of the way I thought and a lot of the way I did things were Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols, and she talks about you doing you. And I think sometimes we can be quick to compare ourselves to other people, quick to think about what other people are doing, quick to say we're not good enough because somebody else is exhibiting something that is more valuable than what we would attribute. The other book was Dream It, Pin It, Live It. because one of the things that I was encouraged to do when joining my business and trying to grow my business was to set goals. Something I'd not necessarily done before. It was something very alien to me, something I didn't actually understand that worked, vision boards and all that kind of stuff. It just didn't sit well, or it didn't sink in as well. And Dream It, Pin It, Live It's by Terry Saville Foy. I follow her on YouTube as well. She's awesome. And another book that I've read about 10 times just this year, along with all the other books, is Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And one of the things that I got from that were very practical steps in goal setting. Understand that goal setting doesn't have to be done as a New Year's resolution. It's not something you do once a year and then expect something to happen and then be disappointed at the end of the year it didn't happen. Actually, there are very massive active steps that we can take in that goal setting. And these are some of the things that I found important with me, but also have created the structure for my parenting, have created the importance around the things that I say and do with my children, that I know build a healthier environment for them, that I know will build better self-esteem in them. And two quotes that I found that were quite important to me, ones that I've looked into over a few years. So Les Brown, he's a great person to follow, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and the goal that I've sat with, it says, you're never too old to set another goal or dream another dream. So don't get stuck in the fact of what you wanted when you were at high school or secondary school, as we would call it. Don't get stuck in the fact of what you wanted with your life, like I did. I wanted the 2.4, I wanted the marriage and the car and the house, and I'm not saying nothing came in that order, but instead of kicking yourself about it, just know that you can set it up another way that does suit you for right now. The other goal is, if you don't design your own life, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan, and guess what they've got planned for you? Not much. And that quote's from Jim Rohn, and that really got me thinking, like, am I being intentional about my life? And if I'm not being intentional about my life, I've got two sets of eyes watching me live the life that I'm living, and do I want them to live that same life? And for a lot of the questions, and for a lot of ways I was living, the answer was no. And quite honestly, I was a little bit pig-headed in the fact that I thought, okay, yeah, I'm living fine, but then when you're now an influencer for somebody else and somebody else is watching what you're doing, you have to answer it in a different way. And my different way was actually, no, I don't want the life that I've had for myself, for my children. It's not what I want. It's not what I desire for them. And that, therefore, I have to make a change. What I thoroughly do believe, and what parenting is to me, is you can tell your child what to do and they may do it. Or you can show your child what to do. And more than likely, they'll do what they see, not what they're told. Now, I was a child once, you were a child once, most definitely. And whatever situation you grew up in, you can reflect in a sense of what you see and what you were told sometimes didn't correlate. It didn't match up. It didn't make sense. So as soon as you got to adulthood, or you got to the point where you didn't have to listen to this rubbish anymore, you then had to think of a different way of doing it. But I feel like we're in a generation right now where things are open to us, things are more available to us, that we can make a better life for ourselves. And my number one goal is to make a better life for myself, because I want to be the example my children see. Not just, if you can't teach philosophy, which I totally get now. If you can't get out there and do it, the big bold thing that other people are doing, then teach someone else to do it. But actually, I want what my words to say to carry some weight. I want what I do to carry some weight. I want what I do to inspire. And I want to inspire other women. I want to inspire other mothers. I want to inspire you to live your dreams, whatever those dreams are. And they don't have to make sense to anybody. They don't have to go by anyone else's journey plan. They don't have to fit in anyone else's box, because it's not theirs. It's yours, and it's your child's, or it's your family's, or it's your journey. And whatever that is, have it, cherish it, and it's never too late to set another goal. It's never too late to dream another dream. dream it for you and set it for you. So parenting to me is making it your own. Living the life you want to live, deciding on the route you want to take, and then taking it unapologetically, without any approval from somebody else, without anything from anybody else really. You know, no one has to approve it. You will find a person that will say, oh wow, that's amazing, that's exactly what you're meant to do. And seek until you find that someone who will help you take the journey the way you need to take it. Parenting to me is parenting myself again and giving myself the breaks I don't think I got, but also not living in the past or the denial of that, but then taking it really quickly, learning it really quickly and giving it to my children so they can get a better start than I did. And I think I turned out pretty good. I think I'm doing pretty good. But I know that we always want our children to do that much better. So what is your idea of parenting? What does it mean to you? Why is it important to you that you do certain things? Why is it not important to you that you do other things? We have got an event coming up and it's called the Parents' Evening. Now the Parents' Evening is all about that. It's about us individuals coming together and deciding this is how we want to do it, but also let's be the village that raises the child. Who says that somebody else doesn't have a nugget of wisdom that could actually help us move our journey forward? Let's take advantage of that. Let's take advantage of the knowledge that other people have and take that and run with it. We are at liberty to get as much information as we want. We can access as many people as we want. We've got social media, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I mean, I am literally on here getting loads of ideas all the time. I don't have it made, but the next step I take will decide and demand a different me. So what am I willing to do to grow? What am I willing to do to be better so that I can offer better? And the thing I'm going to leave you with is something that Lisa Nichols said on a podcast that I watched. And she said that every time her son had a birthday, she'd say to her son, "Hi son, happy birthday. This is the first time you're going to be 9, for example. And just remember that this is the first time mommy is parenting a 9-year-old. Let's do this together." So let's do this together. Let's walk this walk together. Let's join our ideas together and let's allow the village to raise our child.